Hi, I'm Kiki Cinza, and I have a wonderful channel here on YouTube in which I talk about spirituality, magic, and the occult, and all things along that line. But today I'm talking about something that has affected me, and it is cyberstalking. I want to make this video today for people who are going through the same thing, but also my viewers who maybe have thought about it, thought that they saw it happening, but they weren't quite sure, and who just had no clue. This this is one of those things where people will say it's a part of the package. When you go online, expect some kinds of behavior that can be uncomfortable. And there are all kinds of people. And the truth is that I would say most of the people that I've met in doing this have been amazing. I've made wonderful connections from this. But mental illness is real. It's rampant, it's going untreated, and that means people who are often introverts, have social issues, social challenges. It means that they're also watching videos, going on Instagram, looking at different content, and can be prone to developing obsessive behavior, which is essentially associated with cyberstalking. Cyberstalking can be defined as the repeated use of electronic communications to harass or bully or frighten someone. And so, yes, I had that experience, and I've been having this experience for years. So that's what I want to talk about today. Signs that I knew that things were off, but also how things evolved. And I want to share this because I think that I didn't find videos about this, when I was going through it, and I want to hear other people's experiences. And so I decided, you know what? Be a part of the few people who are putting out their experiences so that other people can learn from them who might be going through the same thing, who aren't quite sure how to deal with it or how to label it. The first thing I want to say is, especially if they're in the same country, you can call the police and have it reported. And if they're out of the country, there are also other ways to address that issue. So I want that to be clear at first. But I'm also going to tell you my personal experience. So here it goes. For me, the first thing I noticed I've had various cyber stalkers, just so you know, and I haven't known them personally. There has been probably only one person that I met face to face. Okay, and in a short, brief encounter, this person was calling me, emailing me, and, periodically messaging me inappropriate messages. And other people have come and I've blocked them right away. But there have been times where I didn't block right away. And when you don't block right away, you start to feel the repercussions more of it. And so I want to talk about that because once you nip it in the bud pretty fast, it's easy. So what are the ways to kind of have a good idea or signs or telltale signs of someone that might be like that? Now, this isn't like foolproof because like I said, I've been experiencing it for years, so I'm not a master, but maybe it can help you and help you see the signs that are out there. One thing I kind of paid attention to is that depending on what I'm posting, the person who is posting back oftentimes isn't posting or commenting in relationship to the actual topic. They really are just trying to get my attention. Their main goal is to get my attention, but oftentimes the topic at hand is not being addressed in their comments. So that's one thing that I noticed. I'm like, this person is never sticking to the topic. And it might be natural for me to ignore, but you realize on every video, they keep on posting these comments that do not relate to the topic, no matter what you say. So that was one of the first things. The other thing that I noticed is that just a feeling. You have intuition. You feel that someone's a little off and you feel that something is a little off. And in the kind of work that I do, working with spirituality, wanting people to feel included and accepted, wanting people to feel like they had a place where someone would understand them, because when you're dealing with kind of alternative ideas, going against mainstream religion, mainstream thought, it can be a lonely place. And so for me, this desire to be as inclusive as possible also let my guard down to people who truly we're not mentally and emotionally stable. Okay, so there's always a sign there, and there's a feeling. There could be oversharing. So in a comment that they might post, there's too much oversharing, giving too much of their personal information, not setting boundaries for themselves. If they're not setting boundaries for themselves, you can kind of have an idea that when it comes to you, they may not set boundaries for themselves as well. And that means they're going to invade your internet space, if you will. And even though cyberstalking, it typically doesn't become physical, it's just as invasive. Imagine your messages just blowing up one after the other, having pages and business pages being attacked and bombarded, having to block, and then once you block them there, then they start a new account, then you have to block them again, and this constant blocking, and the person constantly wanting essentially your attention. Another thing that I notice is that, and this is very interesting, is that the desire for them to be blocked. And I want people to realize that this was a hard thing for me, because I had this fantasy that people could just self-govern themselves. If you notice that I'm not responding and I'm not having any contact with you, then just let it go. But sometimes what happens is that they'll escalate, and feeling blocked or being blocked is this thing that for them gives them a false sense of power, that essentially I got you to do something. But I want people who are in that situation, just block. Don't worry about if they got you to do something. Block and block, because it's it gives you the most peace in this situation, trust me. So that's one thing I want you to factor in. And also, once you notice that the behavior is, let's say it's someone that you know, or someone that you have communicated with, once you see that behavior shift to mean, abusive, intrusive, aggressive, stop responding. If this isn't someone that you had any contact with and it already starts off that way, do not respond whatsoever. They just want your attention as much as possible. It's not really up to me to figure out why people obsess and all of that. And you can read articles about it. But for the most part, you notice that there's some kind of trauma in their background. There's some social issues that have happened. And so there's different factors that they're coming with the harassment. But it's really not up for you to fix that. It's not up to you to fix it and not really even understand it. The only thing you can do is follow your path. And here's the thing that really stood out to me in conversing with other YouTubers and people who make content and just talking about these experiences. And this is the other thing. It's experienced a lot. It's very common, especially for female YouTubers who are out there making content. It's like a part of the package for a lot of content makers. And what I want you guys to understand is that a great topic and keeping a hard line is this. No matter how you thought about this person, the compassion that you tried to have for them, if that happened at some point, remember this. The moment that line is crossed where you are no longer being treated like a human, but instead of object, it's done. It's over. And that's a hard line to keep. And in communicating with a fellow YouTuber, when she shared that, I was like, yes, that's a perfect way to move forward and essentially lay down the line in the sand. So I hope that what I've shared has helped you, and also given light to what actually happens behind the scenes. It's not fun. It's not a pleasurable experience, but what I can say is that maybe making a video like this can help people, realize that you're not alone. And you can always call the cops. You can always make a police report. And it is a misdemeanor. It's not a felony, but it is a misdemeanor, which means you can that person who has committed this crime, which it is a crime, they can be penalized and put in jail for a year and onwards, depending on the severity of what they're doing. We also realize that this is also going to be in relationship to mental illness as well. Mentally stable people are not going to be that obsessed with you. So that's something to understand and realize that we're in a world now where mental illness is not being treated properly. It's not getting the attention it deserves, the care that it deserves. And depending on culture, sometimes some people don't even, think to say this person needs to get help right away. So knowing that, and you still want to make content and you still want to follow your path, don't let anyone or anything stop you from doing that. Just know that you do have things, there are resources that you can use, and there are things that you can do, and you can still be empowered. And if you believe in what you do, keep on doing it. Okay? Well, thank you. And what I say in my channel is hallelujah, hallelujah magic, Iovunia, and I will see you next video. Okay? Bye-bye.